In this video, we analyze a brilliant chess game move by move. Watch closely. One small mistake can decide everything. Let's begin. Wesley advances the c-pawn, immediately contesting central space and beginning a flexible opening with confident positional intentions. Uzbekistan answers with the c-pawn, matching central influence and keeping the position balanced from the very first exchange. Wesley advances the g-pawn, preparing a kingside fianchetto and opening a powerful diagonal for the bishop. Uzbekistan mirrors the setup with the g-pawn, preparing the same fianchetto structure and maintaining symmetrical development. Wesley develops the bishop to the long diagonal, increasing central influence and improving piece coordination. Uzbekistan develops the bishop to the matching diagonal, contesting key dark squares and completing the fianchetto. Wesley develops the queenside knight, increasing central control and supporting future pawn activity. Uzbekistan develops the queenside knight, reinforcing central influence and completing harmonious minor piece development. Wesley advances the b-pawn, preparing to develop the bishop while expanding useful queenside space. Uzbekistan pushes the e-pawn, claiming central space and supporting active piece development. Wesley develops the bishop to b2, strengthening the long diagonal and improving coordination across the board. Uzbekistan develops the kingside knight, preparing castling and reinforcing central support. Wesley advances the d-pawn, reinforcing the center and creating a solid pawn structure. Uzbekistan responds with the d-pawn, supporting the center and maintaining a stable pawn formation. Wesley develops the kingside knight, completing another step in development while preparing to castle. Uzbekistan castles kingside, securing the king and connecting the rook for future activity. Wesley castles kingside, safeguarding the king and bringing the rook into the game. Uzbekistan advances the h-pawn, creating additional space on the king's side and preventing piece incursions. Wesley repositions the knight toward a more active square, improving central coordination while keeping flexible options for future operations. Uzbekistan develops the bishop to e6, improving coordination and reinforcing important central squares. Wesley jumps the knight into the center, occupying a strong outpost and increasing pressure across important central squares. Uzbekistan develops the queen to d7, improving coordination while supporting both central and queenside play. Wesley advances the a-pawn, gaining queenside space and preparing future pawn expansion. Uzbekistan develops the bishop to h3, challenging Wesley's bishop directly and inviting an immediate exchange near the kingside. Wesley captures the attacking bishop with the bishop, removing the active piece and simplifying the position. Uzbekistan recaptures with the queen, restoring material balance while centralizing the queen on an active square. Wesley advances the b-pawn, gaining more queenside space and challenging Uzbekistan's position from the flank. Uzbekistan retreats the queen to d7, preserving coordination while maintaining influence over important central squares. Wesley captures the c-pawn with the b-pawn, opening the queenside and removing an important pawn from the board. Uzbekistan recaptures with the d-pawn, restoring material balance while maintaining a healthy central structure. Wesley advances the e-pawn, strengthening the center and opening fresh lines for coordinated piece activity. Uzbekistan places the rook on bait, occupying the semi-open file and increasing queenside activity. Wesley develops the bishop to c3, improving long diagonal influence and reinforcing important central and queenside squares. Nodirbek advances the b-pawn, gaining queenside space and supporting active piece play. Wesley captures the advancing pawn with the c-pawn, eliminating the queenside expansion and opening the b-file. Nodirbek recaptures with the rook, activating the rook while restoring material balance. Wesley's knight captures the opposing knight with check, removing an important defender and forcing an immediate response. Nodirbek recaptures with the queen, restoring material equality while keeping the queen actively centralized. Wesley develops the remaining knight to c4, improving coordination and central activity. Nodirbek returns the queen to d7, maintaining coordination and supporting both central and queenside operations. Wesley places the rook on bone, directly contesting the open file and challenging Nodirbek's active rook. Nodirbek advances the a-pawn, gaining queenside space and supporting the pawn structure. Wesley centralizes the queen, improving coordination and supporting both central and queenside operations. Nodirbek places the rook on date, occupying the open file and improving central coordination. Wesley transfers the rook to dun, directly contesting the open file and reinforcing central control. Nodirbek advances the h-pawn, creating additional kingside space while preserving a solid pawn structure. Wesley advances the h-pawn, limiting further pawn expansion and creating useful space around the king. Nodirbek moves the king to h7, improving king's safety behind the pawn shield. Wesley moves the king to g2, improving coordination and preparing for the coming middle game struggle. Nodirbek advances the f-pawn, reinforcing the center and supporting the kingside structure. Wesley repositions the knight to b6, increasing queenside activity and applying pressure against important enemy targets. Nodirbek moves the queen to a7, keeping the queen active while supporting queenside coordination. Wesley centralizes the knight on d5, strengthening piece activity and increasing pressure across important central squares. Nodirbek develops the knight to a7, improving coordination and reinforcing the remaining pieces. Wesley repositions the knight to e3, maintaining flexibility while strengthening central control. Nodirbek develops the bishop to h6, activating the bishop and improving coordination along the long diagonal. Wesley returns the knight to c4, improving activity and central coordination. Nodirbek repositions the queen to d7, maintaining coordination with the bishop and supporting the position. Wesley develops the bishop to a5, improving piece activity and increasing pressure along the diagonal. Nodirbek places the rook on bait, doubling the rooks on the b-file and reinforcing queenside pressure. Wesley advances the a-pawn, gaining queenside space before the coming rook exchanges. Nodirbek captures Wesley's rook on bone with the rook, beginning a major exchange of heavy pieces. Wesley recaptures on bone with the rook, restoring material balance and keeping control of the contested file. Nodirbek captures the rook on bone with the remaining rook, continuing the forced exchange sequence. Wesley recaptures with the queen, removing the invading rook and centralizing the queen. Nodirbek develops the knight to chicks, improving coordination and reinforcing important central and queenside squares. Wesley develops the bishop to c3, strengthening the long diagonal and improving piece coordination. Nodirbek retreats the bishop to fate, preserving the bishop while reinforcing the defensive setup. Wesley maneuvers the knight to b6, increasing queenside pressure and improving piece activity. Nodirbek places the queen on b7, supporting the queenside and coordinating with the remaining pieces. Wesley advances the a-pawn to a5, gaining space and restricting queenside counterplay. Nodirbek jumps the knight to b4, attacking Wesley's bishop and increasing queenside activity. Wesley captures the advanced knight with the bishop, removing an active piece and simplifying the position. Nodirbek recaptures with the c-pawn, restoring material balance and reshaping the queenside pawn structure. Wesley centralizes the queen on b3, increasing activity while coordinating with the bishop and knight. Nodirbek moves the king to g7, improving king's safety and supporting the remaining pieces. Wesley centralizes the queen on c4, increasing activity while improving coordination across the board. Nodirbek develops the bishop to e7, improving coordination and reinforcing the defensive position. Wesley advances the king to f3, bringing the monarch toward the center for greater endgame activity. Nodirbek advances the f-pawn, creating central tension and increasing active counterplay. Wesley moves the king to e2, maintaining coordination and supporting the central pawn structure. Nodirbek captures the e-pawn with the f-pawn, opening the center and winning an important pawn. Wesley recaptures with the d-pawn, restoring material balance while keeping the center under control. Nodirbek develops the bishop to d6, improving piece coordination and reinforcing central squares. Wesley advances the king to d3, making the monarch an active participant in the endgame. Nodirbek centralizes the queen on e7, improving coordination and maintaining defensive flexibility. Wesley captures the pawn on s6 with the queen, winning material and clearing the a-file for the passed pawn. Nodirbek moves the queen to f7, activating the queen and creating pressure against Wesley's position. Wesley repositions the knight to d5, strengthening central control and supporting the advancing passed pawn. Nodirbek checks with the queen, forcing Wesley to answer while keeping the queen actively placed. Wesley repositions the knight to e3, reinforcing key central squares and improving defensive coordination. Nodirbek develops the bishop to c5, activating the bishop and increasing pressure along the diagonal. Wesley checks with the queen from b7, forcing Nodirbek's king to move while keeping the initiative. Nodirbek moves the king to h6, escaping the check and remaining under continued pressure. Wesley repositions the queen to c8, supporting the passed pawn while maintaining pressure across the board. Nodirbek retreats the bishop to f8, strengthening the defensive setup around the king. Wesley advances the passed pawn to a6, bringing the promotion threat another step closer. Nodirbek captures the pawn on f2 with the queen, gaining material, but leaving Wesley's dangerous passed pawn untouched. Wesley advances the pawn to a7, creating an unavoidable promotion threat, and Nodirbek resigns because the promotion cannot be prevented. The video ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you again, everyone. See you in the next video.